Okay, this is a special lesson. I'm going to answer the question for you, how to make and poach pears. And we're going to make 4 different flavored poached pears in this lesson. It is time-elapsed. There will be a cooking time. But first, the setup time, which is one of the most important parts. And I'll tell you what flavors we're going to make. We're going to make 1 poached in red wine, 1 with pomegranate liqueur, also known as grenadine, 1 with green creamed mint. So one will be kind of a spearmint flavor. And then we're going to do 1 with some saffron that's also sweet. So we will have a pink pear, or 2 pink pears, 2 green spearmint flavored pears, 2 yellow saffron flavored pears, and 2 red wine poached pears. All of them are going to be poached in syrup with some flavoring agents, okay? First, let's talk about the pears. I have regular Bartlett pears here, and you want to start out with hard pears. So there's some cooking time involved. If you start out with a soft pear, it doesn't really have time to absorb any of the stuff you're cooking it in, okay? So I have simple syrup here, which is a primary component. I'm going to put 2 cups. I have 2 pears in each one of these saucepans. I have 4 saucepans here, and I've pre-peeled all 8 of these pears, okay? I'm going to put a couple cups of syrup in each one of these pans. Simple syrup, which you know we have a video for. And I'm not satisfied that I have enough, of course, so I'm going to add some more sugar and some more water to these. Now you can add syrup to it, or you can just make the syrup at the same time that you're poaching the pears. And we're going to do a combination of 2 because I had some simple syrup on hand, but I also have sugar and water here, which I'm going to add to it. So let's begin by putting the primary component flavors on top of these first. So we have 2 that we're going to use for red wine. Syrups, by the way, can be stored and reused, okay? The pomegranate liqueur. So I got a whole quart of red wine in there, or 750 milliliters, and I got about 1.5 cups of the pomegranate liqueur in that one. And on the spearmint one, I'm going to put about 1.5 cups of the liqueur in there also. Okay, it varies in terms of the amount that you're putting in there, but it's kind of up to you. It depends how intense you want the flavor and what the final result is that you're looking for and what you're going to use the pears for. And we're going to talk about the use of the pears also. But first, we're going to get them all seasoned and on the stove cooking, okay? So now I have some saffron here, which is, of course, is extremely expensive. And we're going to add a few threads of Spanish saffron to this one. And this is going to make these the yellow pears when it's all said and done. And, of course, you can use plain white wine. You can poach them in plain syrup also. You can put orange liqueur, triple sec. You can flavor them with whatever you want. You can add rum to them if you want. The ones that I'm doing today are kind of very typical good ones to make, okay? But I want to inspire you to make your own, too, at the same time, all right? So I have some star anise, which is very aromatic. It smells like licorice. I'm going to put a little bit of star anise in each one of these, because although we're making 4 different flavors, typically you may not do that. And so you're going to have some, each one of them has their own unique flavor anyway. Then I have some whole cloves. And I have 2 or 3 cinnamon sticks for each one of these. Now, we have the primary ingredients in these 4 saucepans. And now we're going to add more sugar, another 1.5 to 2 cups of sugar to each one of these. And then we're going to top them off with water. So what we're doing is we're making simple syrup at the same time here. I'm putting enough in to make sure that the pears can be submerged in liquid during the cooking time. And we're going to weight them down with towels and plates in these saucepans while they're cooking to ensure that they are below the liquid level. Okay, these are all, well, this one needs a little bit more liquid here. All right, now I'm going to put a towel on top of each one of these pears, sets of pears. That will also ensure that there's the poaching liquid moisture making direct contact with the pear the entire time. So you don't have one part of the pear that has more color or flavor than another part. This also will help you trap the heat just a little bit during the cooking process. What you don't want is you don't want to overcook your pears. Now, Richard, if you can zoom in down here, you see you have a red pot. You have a yellow pot. This is already turning yellow from the saffron. You have a very green pot here. And then you have your red wine pot. They all look good. Now I'm going to put a plate on the top of each one of these to make sure that they, that plate's a little too big for that one, to make sure that they stay submerged. That one needs a little more water. There we go. And this one needs a little more water. Okay, now I'm going to put these all on the burners on the stove at a very low temperature. These are going to be cooked low, and we're going to monitor them, okay? Let's keep in mind that we do not want to poach the pears in a hurry. What happens is you cook the pear too fast or too much, or both of those things, and the pear gets mushy. You want to cook it very slow. I guess you can think about it in terms of like cooking a roast or a prime rib. You want it to be one temperature all the way through the pear. You don't want the outside of the pear being really, really hot before the inside gets hot, okay? Now the insides of these pears are all going to remain with their natural color. It's the outside perimeter of the pears that's going to change, okay? So this is probably going to take half an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how high I keep them, and basically that, you know, depending on what temperature I have them in and how often I open them up and move them around and see how much cooking time more they need, etc. Okay? So I'll be back in 15, 20 minutes as they're cooking and bring you up to speed. Okay? Whoa, I never put the oranges and the lemons in there. They're sitting right in front of me and I forgot. See, you guys are all consuming and you get my attention. I can't, but this is an important point for you to make, or for me to make, and that is if you make a mistake, say so, fix it. So we're going to add some thin sliced orange for flavor to all 4 of those pear pots, and some thin sliced lemon to all 4 of those pear pots. And they've only been on for 60 seconds, so we're not missing out on anything here. Let me get these in here. Orange, 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 lemon, 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 lemon. This adds that one more little aromatic, sweet flavor to the pear. Okay. All right. Now, this time, I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Sorry about that. The poached pears are cooked. We're going to take them all off in the saucepans, put them right here in front of you, disassemble all the rags and weighted plates and everything else. And we're going to put a little bit of ice in each one of them and let them cool off. Red wine, saffron, pomegranate, and the spearmint or mint or whatever you'd want to call it. It tastes like mint. Okay, first, let's get these plates out of here. I checked them twice over the course of the time they were cooking. Just checked them a couple minutes ago and they're all just done. Now let's get these rags out of here. What I'm going to do is we're going to put a little bit of ice in them, and we want them soaking in their own syrup for a while. And I'm going to talk to you about each one of these pears after they're cool in terms of how long you can soak them in their syrup, okay? But first we're going to get them off the fire here. Can you get a shot down at these now? Can you get in there?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And then the yellow and the red. These are some fun little pears here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of ice on each one of these because I want to stop this cooking process now. You don't need to ice them to death right now, but just enough to change the temperature here. Should be enough for me to put my hand in it. There you go. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to let these sit on this table and cool. Then we're going to pull them off and we're going to slice into one of each of these so you can get a feeling for what they look like. And then we're going to talk about the storage and the use of these poached pears, okay? So I'll be back in about an hour to an hour and a half. Let's let them cool and soak in their syrup, okay? And then we'll do some playing. Okay, the pears are all cooled off. And what I'm going to do before we start manipulating the use of these pears and me putting one on a plate for you is I want to store them in the refrigerator for a few hours or overnight so they have a chance to absorb a little bit more of the flavor and the color of each one of these individual concoctions that we have here, okay? So we're going to put them in these containers here and store them for a while. We'll get back to the finishing processes with them a little bit later when they're really nice and cold also, okay? So there's your mint. And here's your pomegranate or grenadine. Syrup smells so nice too, with that anise in it and everything else. And here's your saffron. So you got yellow pears here now. And finally the red wine. These look really good. The texture of them is perfect too. They're cooked. The amount of time I cooked them was about 40-45 minutes. But again, it depends on the doneness or the ripeness level of the pears that you select. I selected the hardest pears I could find. They weren't 100% hard, but they were pretty hard. I prefer the 100% hard ones because then you get to cook them longer and they absorb more color and flavor. Okay, there you go. I'm going to plastic wrap these and put them in the fridge, and we'll come back to the poached pears and do a completion of a pear on a plate. And then we'll be using these pears throughout different lessons in this class, in this dessert class anyway. And so you might have to watch some more videos to see the use of some of them. But we'll do one whole one for you when we bring this back out next. Okay? Okay. The poached pear assembly process. These pears have been in the fridge for 5-6 hours, all marinating in their syrups. And now we're going to embark on putting in a dessert plate together of a poached pear stuffed with some ice cream. A little more complicated than one might always want to do. These pears are good eaten by themselves with a little bit of whipped cream and maybe some raspberry sauce or whatever your choice might be. But I'm going to give you a little bit more of an elaborated version on how you might go about something like this if you really wanted to get special about it, okay? So we're going to start by taking the one that was poached in a pomegranate syrup and cutting it in half so you can see what the effect is. Okay, let's get a close-up on that. You see the effect of the look? Now, I'm going to use this as a scoop for the ice cream, but I'm also going to use this as the scoop to remove the core of the pear at the same time. There you go. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this a little bit flat on the bottom so it'll sit flat on the plate and not roll around. So we're going to put this on here, and then we're going to assemble the garnishes around it before we put the ice cream on it, okay? So what am I going to use for the garnishes? In this case, I got some raspberry, blueberry, and some banana, but I'm going to use a little bit of these other pears sliced on the plate for decoration also. And we're going to put some whipped cream, raspberry sauce, chocolate sauce, candied orange rind, and some powdered sugar on it. I probably could throw candied nuts on it, etc., but I'm not going to, okay? So let's start by making a little bit of the garnish of the pears. Here's a pear that was poached in the red wine. And let's cut 1/6 of that pear off. And now I'm going to do a little fanning job on this by not cutting it all the way through. So we're going to decorate the plate with some of the other poached pears. Okay, there's one. Here's the saffron pear. Again, I'll take 1/6 of the pear. A little more fanning again. Thin slices that aren't cut all the way through. Now we got a little bit of yellow pear there. Now we're going to take some of the green pear, the mint pear. A 1/6 of a pear again. See, these are cooked just right. They're perfectly tender, but not overcooked. And they've all absorbed their color and flavors to the way in which I would want them to. All right, so there we've got some stuffed pears. Now, let's put, how do we want to do this? Let's put a pool of the chocolate sauce. Let's put a pool of the raspberry sauce, raspberry coulis, raspberry sauce, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to end up putting whipped cream here, I think is what we'll do. So let's put a few berries here and there on the plate of the blueberries, and let's put a few of the raspberries on the plate. The reason I'm saving the ice cream for last is we don't want it melting. So let's say you were going to serve something like this. You could set these plates up in your kitchen and then just at the last minute put the ice cream in. Let's put the ice cream in. and the whipped cream. We're going to use the same scoop. Going to make this a larger scoop. This, of course, is the same ice cream that was made in this class, in this the chocolate ice cream lesson in the class. Okay, I'm going to pick this pear up here. No, I'm not. It's got some chocolate sauce on it. Scoop that ice cream on there, like so. Now I'm going to get some whipped cream on there. Got to have some of that. Then I have a little bit of candied orange rind here. I'm going to put a couple of pieces up here, just for fun. And I have a little bit of nutmeg here. And I still have a little bit of banana to put on here too. Let's grate, with the zester I'm using here, let's just grate a little bit of nutmeg on this plate. Don't get carried away with it, of course. Nutmeg is very strong. Let's finalize this off with a little bit of banana. Kind of ad-libbing this one as I go along, which I like to do on my in these lessons, because that's what you're going to be doing, hopefully. Sometimes you kind of get certain moves down that you repeat, but let's just put a little bit of banana all the way around this plate. Kind of evenly spaced out on the plate. Now you're starting to get something that's really getting kind of Baroque and decorated. Let's hit it with a little bit of powdered sugar. Now you got a special poached pear dish right there. Again, a little bit fancy, but just give you an idea of one or two different approaches that you might want to take when you're playing around with this. Remember, the poached pears all by themselves are really good. They're great holiday items, particularly when you have these amount of colors and different flavors. Certainly could serve them in one bowl with fruits and things like that. So there you have it. There's a plated poached pear dish with 4 different kinds of poached pears. Enjoy that, have fun, and keep this one in your repertoire. This is kind of moderately caloric, fresh, fruity. This is has the illusion of health in it. And to the greatest extent, it's fairly true. Go on ahead and enjoy that. Thank you.